Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, a flaming hot grilled cheese burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you. Yes.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
You could win one of 2 trips to see Banana Ball live. Purchase 2 Body Armor products, use Let's Go Rewards, and you're entered to win. Right now, Body Armor is buy one, get one for $1 with Let's Go Rewards. Start getting those entries in. Let's go.
Around here, toughness isn't talked about. It's lived.
Matt Wagner with the one-handed catch down.
Early mornings, late nights.
Going forward with Ford.
Work that doesn't make the highlight reel.
Same mindset, different uniform.
This is the blue-collar grit, earned, not given.
Tough days don't stop us. They build us.
McMillan shoots and scores.
For the workers who don't back down, Ford doesn't either.
Shannon fires.
Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
What's up, Bronco Nation? Happy Friday to you. Welcome on into another live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. As always, I am in the Sun Cruiser studios here in Meridian. Sun Cruiser, perfect weekend golfing beverage or just a good beverage for barbecue and hanging out. Recommend the blueberry lemonade, all the great flavors there. And our title sponsor, where Mike Prater is, the Lithia Ford of Boise studios. We appreciate Lithia Ford of Boise, Jim Sturk and Company. Get out and look this weekend for a newer pre-owned vehicle. You can check out their full inventory at lithiafordboise.com. As I said, it's Friday, and that means Mike Prater joins us for his weekly appearance. Mike, loving the Lithia Ford of Boise hat there. You guys couldn't have picked a better weather day, it looks like, to do an outdoor show today at a softball game, but how are we doing?
Well, you had me at perfect weather and Friday, so even Prater can't screw this show.
I thought you were going to say Sun Cruiser. Come on.
Sun Cruiser too, man. If it was past 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I would definitely be loading up on that sucker. So, yeah, it's the perfect day, perfect weather, perfect, I know it's not football season. I know it's not basketball season. We got this crazy collision of seasons, but it's going to be a fun day and lots of other stuff going on. So, a very cool day. It's a very cool day for a lot of former Boise State football guys, too.
It is. That's going to be our lead here in just a second. But did want to thank you, Mike, for last Saturday, you and Johnny hosting the post-game show. We had a couple what I would call very minor Wi-Fi issues, but for the most part, got through the hour plus. The first 10 minutes, Prater, you never looked better. You were super grainy and blurry. We can at least hear you, and sometimes you don't want to mess with something that's kind of working and make it worse. So I said, just leave it, and we can at least hear you fine. And after about the first 10 minutes, that for whatever reason, the quality slowly got better. And I'd say the last 45 minutes, you were in crystal clear HD there. But one little small snafu during the commercial break. But overall, we got through it. The James, I guess, switched up some of their Wi-Fi since the season ended, and it was just a little bit of a adjustment, but appreciate again Kanan for setting all that up and you and Johnny, and that way we got great reviews on that. We played part of it on Monday's show talking about some of the concerns that we may get back to, but appreciate you and Johnny for coming over to the James and making that work.
Yeah, we did it. Had a good time. Appreciate the opportunity to get on there and talk about a pretty important event. And the spring game had its highs and it's had its just kind of mundane lows, and kind of business as usual for a team that's pretty much on autopilot right now. That doesn't mean that's great, but I think they came up for a good offseason, a good spring camp, a good spring game, and now it's kind of, they get the month off. They report, I think, the Tuesday after Memorial Day, Monday. They report maybe May 26th, May 25th, somewhere around there for summer conditioning. So we'll get a couple of weeks off and let those guys get ready and healed up and then dive into a whole nother phase of their offseason.
We're 2 weeks from Monday, Mike. We already have our countdown starting 2 weeks from Monday. We already backed it up from the start of fall camp. We're going to have 25 storylines and questions facing this team that'll take us through the month of July. We got 25 most important players that'll take us through late May and early June. So 2 weeks from Monday, and then I guess 3 weeks from today, you'll be discussing number 21, I guess, on our list as we start the countdown. So I will. People say, what are you talking about? But there's plenty of off-season coverage. We'll spend all summer diving into some of the most important players, some of the most important storylines and questions. So there'll be plenty of football talk throughout the summer. But I was already emailing with Nathan and Chris and putting together our list of 25 players and 25 questions. But we're going to start Monday, the 19th of May, I believe, 2 weeks from Monday, with our top 25 most important players. So we just got to get through 2 more weeks here, and then we'll be fine. And yeah, we are going to talk, a lot of spring ball here in a little bit, and recap spring and talk a little basketball as well. But as you mentioned off the top, Mike, a big day, big weekend for some players, some with real goals and making the team, some maybe just enjoying a couple days here in their last, hurrah and dream, trying to be an NFL player. But some former Boise State players, probably headlined, I would guess, by Matt Lauder, taking the field here maybe right about now.
Yes, 6 former Boise State football players will step on an NFL football field today for the first time ever. And how cool of an experience is that? And you're 1,000% right. 5 of those 6 are probably there for the weekend experience and a free T-shirt and maybe a sandwich after practice today. So, Matt Lauder is the only undrafted free agent. He told us the other day that yesterday he flew from Florida, where he's been training this offseason, to Las Vegas. He signed a 3-year contract, a preferred walk-on contract, or a preferred free agent contract. He hinted that it's probably worth maybe about $100,000 a year. So if he can stick around for 3 years, it's worth $300,000. That's not a bad job for a guy that said he's never really had a job. I think he said he once worked in a grocery store and an ice cream shop or something like that. So Matt Lauder is going to work today and collecting a paycheck. He'll be on the team the entire summer as one of the men on the 90. Don't forget, this time of year, NFL rosters, there's no such thing as IR, PUP, practice squads. Every NFL team can put 90 players with no designations on their roster, and Matt Lauder will be a 90-player guy for the entire summer. So regardless of what happens this week, he's going to be back for other OTAs, other mini camps, and then certainly late July, he'll dive right into full camp, and then probably even some preseason games. But he'll be catching passes today from Fernando Mendoza. That's probably pretty cool. Ashton Genty probably, and he might be hanging out and working out in the building, but he'll know where to be found. This is for rookies, drafted kids, undrafted free agents, that kind of stuff. So pretty cool deal. And
we'll get to the other 5 in a second, Mike. Let's stick on Matt for a second. What do you make of his chances of actually making a roster or a practice squad, when this comes to fall camp, and his chances of being an NFL player? I think a lot of people after that big junior year thought it was just going to be a monster year for him. He decides to stay and come back, and then whether it was the poor quarterback play or the injuries or whatever else, he just did not have the stats or the year a lot of people thought he would have. He was frustrated at times. Just overall, what do you make? Because I think at one point, a lot of people thought he'd be a drafted player at some point during his career, or thought he'd be a guy that had a chance to go in with a little more momentum to the NFL than he did. What do you make of Matt Lauder and that fit with the Raiders, long-term for him?
Yeah, I think right now it's exactly where he's supposed to be. I never thought he would be a draft pick. I thought that was a little bit of hometown bias. He just doesn't fit the mold for a tight end. Tight ends in the NFL now, guys, are beasts. I mean, they're the Bowers and the Michael Myers. I mean, they're 6'6", 230 pounds, and great athletic beasts. And Matt Lauder is none of those. I mean, he's just a little step below in all 3 of those phases. But I always thought he would get an opportunity. And he's such a driven, cool dude. He's such a smart dude, such a motivated dude, that he's going to stretch every ounce of this opportunity that he possibly can. So it's not a negative that his body doesn't fit the NFL mold. But, the positive stuff is what's got him to this point today. And I think it's going to work out well. Is he going to make a roster spot? I don't know. They got Bauer. They got Michael Meyer. They got like 5 other dudes, and they're all young in terms of tight ends. I think there's one other rookie tight end. Everybody else on that roster is a 3, 4, 5-year tight end. And it's going to be probably tough to crack the 53, but maybe he can get one of the 16 practice squad spots, hang on for a little bit. The fact that they gave him a preferred free agent deal, a 3-year deal, I think that speaks wealth. And I think it has a lot to do with more of his DNA and his intangibles than his actual physical skills. So I love that he's got the opportunity that I always thought he would get. I didn't think he'd be a draft pick, but he's certainly going to get his shot in the NFL, and it starts today.
Carter Runyon's the other tight end there, young tight end. Skyship says Lauder is going to beat out the other young tight end, Carter Runyon. We'll see there. Brad said missed a lot of blocks, dropped some easy balls, had a rough senior year. We'll see. Hopefully he can find a home there, and if not, by getting to get the reps and stuff all summer, maybe another team will need a tight end at some point, and he'll latch on with them. So we'll see. But good luck to Matt Lauder. You mentioned 5 others starting to try to chase that NFL dream this weekend as well. How do you kind of look at those 5 and who might have any kind of outside chance of lasting past the weekend? Because my understanding is these are mostly tryout, mini camp type of deals.
Yeah, 100%. They're all mini camp tryout guys. So the NFL, the way it works, they give you a 3-day window, and some of the teams, eight teams are going this week, this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and next week on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the other 24 teams in the NFL will do the same. Some of these Boise State guys have double opportunities. They'll be in a free agent minicamp tryout this weekend, and if it doesn't work out, they'll hop onto another team next week. We've seen something like Braxton Feely, although Braxton Feely's 2 teams that he got invited to are next week, so that didn't quite work out. So I think there's some misinformation out there on like in the Braxton Feelys, but the guys that are on the field today, Herbert Gums is in Seattle. That's a pretty cool deal. Watching that deal. Let's see. Mason Randolph is working out with the Kansas City Chiefs today.
And he got 2, right? He's got one next week also?
He does have one next weekend. I forgot what it is, but
Vikings maybe, or Saints, I forget.
Yeah, I forget. Maybe I think it was the Saints. Then Malachi Williams, the kid that came from Idaho to Boise State, he's with the Vegas. He's going to be hanging out with Matt Lauder pretty well. And how about this story? And we've told this story 1,000 times here in Boise. They're joined at the hip. They're Siamese twins. It's Marianne McCoy and Jeremiah Irby have been together, since junior high school, college, junior college, and now in the NFL. Both of them are in Philadelphia Eagles camp today, hanging out and doing their thing, and that's a pretty cool deal. The Eagles, by the way, drafted no cornerbacks whatsoever, and those cats are going to be in camp against the guys like Mekhi Lemon. They'll probably be matching up against in 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 drills. Those two cornerbacks will be matching up with first-round draft pick Mekhi Lemon out of USC, a wide receiver. So pretty cool storylines there.
What's of those two for a second? Which one, if one of them had, if it's 5% and 4%, I don't know, but which one do you think has a slightly better chance? I mean, I think all along people thought it was McCoy, and then, as the senior year went on, Irby kind of came on a little bit, and then certainly at the pro day, McCoy chose not to do a lot of that. I know he had an injury, but Irby had a really strong pro day, actually, with some of the numbers. And Irby actually, has a little size, obviously. Of those two, if there was one that had a chance of sticking around past this weekend, which way would you lean?
Yeah, I definitely like Irby, mostly because of his size and also because of what you said. The offseason momentum seems to be going in his favor. So I'd be shocked if Herbert Gums got any kind of advancement past this weekend. Mason Randolph's a grinder, and an offensive lineman in camp is never going to hurt. So I think Mason Randolph has got a 50-50 shot either this week or next week. Irby for sure. McCoy, I think he's going to get that free T-shirt and sandwich and just tell everybody that he got his opportunity. But we'll see how that plays out. Malachi Williams kid in Vegas, probably not. Frankly, I was a little surprised. I know he went to Boise State's pro day, but I was a little surprised that he got this far. By the way, speaking of Boise State's pro day, I know this is a Boise State show, but Idaho State always sends its players to Boise State's pro day so they can get in front of more NFL scouts. This year they sent 2. Cody Hawkins sent 2 wide receivers to Boise State's pro day. They're both in NFL camps today. Sion Nunley is with the Baltimore Ravens, where he's going to be catching passes from Diego Pavia. And then the other one is Michael Shulikov, a Centennial High School kid, track athlete. He is going to be in camp with Matt Lauder and Malachi Williams today, also catching passes for Fernando Mendoza. So a couple of Boise State pro days, wide receivers from Idaho State making their NFL debuts this weekend as well.
And I know it's probably not lasting past this weekend, but I will give a small shout out to Herbert Gums. He came back a full year, came back to pro day. We got there and saw him there. I'm like, what is this guy doing here? Like, move on. And I know that's kind of a harsh way to say it, but usually you don't come back the second year and have any kind of shot. And for whatever reason, he did get a mini camp with the Seahawks. So good for Herbert Gums. Hopefully he enjoys the weekend and maybe can have some sort of storybook, thing there, but cool for him to put another effort in for a year and at least get a weekend of memories out of it with the Seahawks. Now, people are asking about Zion Washington. The Browns are next week, so he says Zion and Taylon Green back together again with the Browns. That's cool. But Zion I was happy to see that for Zion. Again, don't know what it will come of it, but that's a guy that 100% had a good hour and a half workout and earned himself a spot in the. I mean, that just shows you how crazy some of that is, because he had a lot of, experience playing, but not necessarily a ton of great stats or tape. But that forced them to go back, I guess, and look at some of that tape, and he did enough to earn it. And so Zion's a guy that, with the vertical leap and some of the numbers he put together, we'll see what lasts there. But I thought that was cool that Zion at least is getting this opportunity next week. Yeah, you're not wrong. But for me, it comes down to one 5-letter word: speed. And speed is always going to get you into an NFL camp. And he showed up on pro day with elite speed, 4.3, whatever. So somebody's always going to take a flyer on that. He's not going to last the weekend. I'd be surprised, but speed's always going to be attractive, and we'll see. Yeah, but him and 24 other teams and the rest of the Idaho contingent and other Idaho connections like Taylon Green, they will go all next week. So just 6 Boise State dudes on 8 NFL teams this weekend. Everybody else goes next week. And 38-inch vertical, I think he had as well. And that was one of the cool moments of that pro day, when after he had his first vertical and first he told the guy, raise it up a little higher before he even starts. And the guy's like, you sure? And he's like, oh yeah, keep going. And then he gets his first one. And then I don't know if I've ever seen this at a pro day, but he turns to the crowd and he starts telling them to make some noise, and he's pumping up the crowd before his second jump. And then he gets 38. I mean, it was just a cool story there. And he was a guy that we always, talk to and enjoyed chatting with. So good luck to Zion next week. We'll focus more on him next week. Speaking of kind of semi-off topic thing. Well, there's been a little bit of talk in terms of the calendar when it comes to college football, Mike, and the scheduling and all this. And there's been some push in terms of spring ball of making it more like an OTAs or a summer and doing more of this stuff in the summer than the spring, or adding more stuff in the summer, however you want to look at it. There's different ways to do it. But the summer OTAs in the NFL and maybe making that more of a model for college. What would you make of that?
It's the least of my concerns when it comes to college football. So hopefully they spend zero time on something that ridiculous. Spring ball time, the timing and stuff, fix the rest of your schedule, fix the rest of your college football calendar and prioritize on that. I've heard some of those rumblings. I'm not sure they've ever gotten any kind of serious traction, but to me, it's the least concerning thing about a great, beautiful sport in college football that's very concerning at times. So, priorities elsewhere, guys. Let's hope that they don't. I mean, if they rubber stamp some kind of a deal and open up some different possibilities, that's fine. But college football needs to work on so many other different things than that.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, the closer you get to the season, the less time there is to recover for injuries and things from spring and all that stuff. So we'll see. I mean, Boise State already pushed it back 2 weeks this year, and that seemed to work pretty well. But I don't know what we'll see. They're always messing with something that doesn't need to be messed with in college football. So we'll see. But they'll have the mini camps this weekend. Good luck to all those teams, and we'll follow all those guys and then kind of see who can latch on. And like you said, if you're trying out for one team, but you're kind of trying out for 30 at some of these things. Maybe you get lucky and can send some tape or latch on with another team as well. So best of luck to all those guys. And I would assume this weekend Matt Lauder is obviously by his contract is the guy that's going to stick around and watch. But we'll see if one other we'll put the number at 1.5. We'll see if one other guy can stick around past the weekend. Probably not, but we'll see, Mike. All right. Speaking of spring ball, I do want to discuss Mike's thoughts, lingering question marks, things from the spring that we need to put a bow on before we move forward here. But do want to thank Lithia Ford of Boise. I mentioned him earlier, our title sponsor here on Bronco Nation News. You see Shannon Keegren there. They'll be seeing her tonight out at the softball game, one of the many NIL deals that Lithia Ford of Boise has. And you can return the favor, that next car or truck purchase at Lithia Ford of Boise, whether it's Jeremiah Dickey, whether it's Spencer Danielson, many of their NIL deals. They are taking care of the big wigs over there at Boise State with vehicles. And again, you can return the favor. LithiaFordBoise.com. View their full inventory of vehicles and head on into their showroom there on Fairview Avenue in Boise for that next car or truck purchase. I mentioned Sun Cruiser. They now are available in 12 packs. They've gone from the 8 packs to the 12 packs. You can get the variety packs. Check out some of their various flavors. If you haven't had a Sun Cruiser, I highly recommend it. No carbonation. That's my favorite part. Low calories, low carbs. And if you like tea, they have the half and half. They have the tea flavors. But if you're not a tea guy, and actually I'm not a big tea guy, but I don't taste the tea and the tea flavors either. They're so flavorful. But they have the lemonade vodkas as well. So many flavors. Check them out at Sun Cruiser. Hey, ICCU.com. Prater's made the switch. I've made the switch. Others have as well. Idaho Central Credit Union. They're now on board with Learfield with Boise State. They've got NIL deals. They're an official sponsor. So they're back in business with Boise State. It's great to see. Idaho Central Credit Union, online, ICCU.com. You may think you like your banking experience, folks, but I can promise you, you don't realize what you're missing. There's so many great things, and their online banking is the easiest to move money around, to cash checks, to make deposits, virtually. So easy to use. Check them out online at Idaho Central Credit Union. Now, how much do we need to raise for charity to get Mike Prater to, go head first down one of these slides at Roaring Springs? You can save up to $32 at Jackson's and Extra Mile by Jackson's by buying 2 Coca-Cola products. Roaring Springs, they got some new rides this year. That'll be opening. How old is Roaring Springs, Mike Prater? When did it first open? Oh, it's definitely 20-plus years. The Prater family, I've been down those slides hundreds of times. The Prater family used to have season passes, and the two Prater kids worked there for 4 years each in high school. So it used to be a pretty cool place for the Prater family. I love that place. That's great. Yeah, I know when we moved here in 2013, it was already cooking good, and they're adding new rides this year. They're upgrading some other rides. So if you're wanting to get a season pass or check out just the day pass, again, $32 in savings. You can do that at Roaring Springs Water Park, but you can do it at Jackson's when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products. Mike, I did want to get a quick thought on the blue turf from you, so I'll throw in a quick thought here on the blue and orange store. They've got the new merchandise for the 40th anniversary of the blue. Prater, you look pretty good in one of those jackets right there. The Letterman's jackets, fully customizable. You can get them from the blue and orange store online, theblueandorangestore.com. They're selling these. They're selling some pieces of the blue turf. There's all kinds of other things they have planned for the 40th anniversary, but whether it's this jacket, all your Boise State gear, make sure you hit up the blueandorangestore.com, the Ellen Noble Hall of Fame location there, the location there at the Boise Town Square Mall, or you can order again anywhere in the world online, the blueandorangestore.com. But some merchandise for the 40th anniversary of the blue, and that's a pretty slick-looking jacket there, Mike.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I had a Letterman's jacket in high school. It doesn't fit anymore. I actually tried it on a couple of months ago, but it's still looking pretty sweet and pretty cool. I love the Letterman jacket look.
What do you make of the subtle Ashton Gent? I still said, and I didn't mean on the last show to kind of turn it back into a negative, but I still think they're badly missing some sort of Ring of Honor or upgrading the Hall of Fame or more statues or something to honor so much better and coaches better than they currently do inside the stadium. But with that said, a nice touch for Ashton Genty and Kellen Moore, the number 2 and 11 hash marks. They got the NCAA approval for that. They believe they're the only school in the country with permanent colored hash marks. But what do you make of the new blue? And it mostly looks the same, but they're able to find some subtle ways with that. And then the front porch of Idaho with the kicking spot there at the 35, also with the state of Idaho.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. I mean, no offense to Ashton Genty and Kellen Moore, but as a lifelong native Idahoan, I thought that was really cool. The two Idahos, instead of an X right there on the 35 where they'll be kicking off all the time, I thought that was cool. It's some people.
There it is on the screen there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And some people tried to make this a controversial deal yesterday. They need more, they need less. Blah. It is what it is, guys. It's a brand new turf. It's the 7th edition of the blue turf in the 40th year. It looks great. It looks beautiful. It looks clean. The graphics were smart. They obviously put some time and effort. They just didn't buy a blue turf and put it down, man. They came up with some marketing tools. The 2 and the 11 is fantastic. I love it. Most people won't even notice it. There'll be a couple of people, why is that orange? And they'll have to tell a story because it doesn't really stand out. I'm with you. They need to do more. I'm not about retiring numbers, but a Ring of Honor or patches or whatever and statues, I think you got to be dead for a statue, in my opinion, and we don't want that to happen right now. So I'm definitely anti-statue, but there are certainly plenty of things that you can do. And this was a start. This doesn't mean it's the end. You guys have heard Jeremiah Dickey. You had a great interview with Jeremiah Dickey on the show yesterday. He tells his story, and he doesn't always he tells it strategically. And he doesn't always pour it out, the whole damn thing. He kind of pours it out chapter at a time. And I thought this was a really cool chapter. So it's easy for Prater, the jaded Prater, to sit here and criticize it because it wasn't enough or it wasn't big, bright, and bold. I thought it was cool. The Idaho things were really cool. The nod to Ashton and Kellen were pretty cool. And yeah, sure, we'll have some conversations. What's a bigger, better way to honor your 2 Heisman Trophy finalists? And there's lots of great ideas out there, but yesterday's was a start. I think it's really cool. I'm looking forward to it. And it's really weird because we talked about everything but a Pac-12 logo. That was surreal to see on that field as well.
Yeah. I was, I'm not going to lie, Prater. I was hoping that, they in the recent years, they brought in that old school logo with the state of Idaho and the horse. They've also brought in the script, word Broncos on some of the uniforms and things. I was wondering if they might switch up the font in the end zone and maybe go back to the script Broncos or maybe even go, like I said, instead of the Bronco head at midfield, going back to the one they had when they first put the blue turf in, I believe, with the state of Idaho and the thing. I thought maybe for the 40th anniversary, they'd mix that up, but it is largely the same looking field, like you said, except for a couple of small things. But hey, that's what 1.5 million or something will do for you these days, or whatever the cost was. But they found a way to still make some small changes, and no doubt the Pac-12 logo there certainly looks great. And the crazy part to me then, Mike, is after this brand new $1 million plus turf goes in, like 3 days later, they're painting it and turning it into a baseball field.
They'll paint it green for 3 days and then just wash it off.
No, it stays blue. It stays blue. It gets to stay blue.
It is going to stay blue. Yeah. So just because they're covering up the lines.
They have to cover the entire field, I guess. Even the yard lines in the outfield are just going to be solid blue for the outfield, and then they're going to paint an infield and foul lines and all that. And I can't imagine I know the timing doesn't work out because like early August is the first practice. I don't know how much time they would have to do it afterwards. And I'm sure in a perfect world, they would have put the new turf in after Banana Ball, but that just kind of funny that they're literally going to install it. Looks great. Okay, now go ahead, paint it. But it is what it is. It'll be nice. Another nice touch. And tell you what, Mike, that North End Zone project, we were there for the spring game, been there all spring. And now that there's some seats going in, I mean, that thing's starting to look real. And that thing, I'm really excited for that because that thing's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, it'll definitely change the aesthetics and the noise and the atmosphere and all kinds of stuff when you walk in there. I cannot wait till September 12th. It's going to be a fantastic home opening game, and it's going to be a really cool experience with that Pac-12 logo, the new turf, that North End Zone. It's going to be a really cool day.
All right, Mike, you walked into the first spring practice, March 26th or whatever it was. You walked out off the field over to the James to do your post-game show April 24th, about a month later. Give me something that, when you walked in compared to when you walked out a month later that you feel better about with this team, and give me something that when you walked in, when you walked out, you feel the same or worse about with this team.
Well, first of all, I mean, I think the entire program from January 1st to today has won the offseason. Spencer Danielson's had a spectacular offseason. He brought in 34 brand new players and acclimated a lot of them in there. I think we've identified 4, maybe 5 brand new starters on this team going into fall camp. They did the risk-reward idea of being physical in practice, live tackling, and they got beat up. 17 players did not play in the spring game. 17 players did not even suit up for the spring game, but I don't think any of them, other than maybe one offensive lineman who got dinged in the spring game pretty hard, and then Ben Ford, who was always going to be 50-50 going into fall camp, they came out of that really, really good. None of the injuries are threatening. None of the injuries are long-term. There was some scary stuff. One dude had a very, very scary concussion, but and he didn't play on Saturday. But you can recover by that for off summer conditioning. So I think it really, really worked. My concern, my feeling right now is that this is a really good football team. This is a really, really good football team right now. This is Memphis good. This is Pac-12 good. It's not good. And I think we can kind of see the writing on the wall. That Oregon game is going to set the tone, and it's probably going to get ugly because Oregon's really good. By the way, I read a story yesterday that Oregon thinks that it has 12 NFL draft guys on its roster next year. And I went back and looked at a whole bunch of other mocks. There's like 6 Oregon dudes mocked to go in the first round next year. Oregon's going to be spectacular. They're going to be one of the greatest teams in the history of college football on paper. And Boise State is not even close to that. They're going to get their ass kicked on September 5th. And it has nothing to do with Maddox Madsen. But by the time September 12th rolls around, I think this team is Memphis good. I think this team is Pac-12 good. And I think this is going to be a good football team this year.
You can't say Rashawn Jones because everyone's talking about him. But who's another name or two that moved up your list on importance to the team, or guys you're excited about, when you go from walking into camp to the end of camp? Who impressed you and maybe you helped their stock this spring?
Well, some of the offensive linemen, I mean, Tyler Etheridge, it was absolutely spectacular. And they brought him in here with high expectations, a 1-year guy from Colorado State Pueblo, and he took almost all the reps at left tackle. So going into camp, we thought maybe Kyle Cox just because of what he did last year, but Tyler Etheridge, he gave me Cage Casey vibes. Not that he's that good or headed to the NFL, but just quietly going about your business and getting the job done and not getting a lot of attention to yourself. So
I'll jump in on him before you get to another name or two, just to show you kind of where the coaches and teammates think of that. I was there early enough at one of the practices where they do the little hype circle thing, and I think it was the week of the spring game or the week before. But I mean, Tyler Etheridge was chosen to lead the hype circle for the entire team. And there's only 15 practices and there's 100 players. And that's typically your seniors, your captains, your veterans. For a guy that had been here 2.5 months to be picked to lead the hype circle for the entire team at one of the 15 practices, I thought that spoke volumes.
I missed that. I didn't even know that. And you're right. That speaks beyond volumes. And they brought him in real quietly, guys, with high expectations. You don't bring an offensive lineman in you don't rent an offensive lineman for 9 months. The offensive linemen take years to gel. But Tim Keene is a phenomenal offensive line coach, and I think that they found a dude that's a diamond in the rough. I'm not sure how good he's going to be, but I think he's checked every box for me. So Tyler Etheridge was really, really good. And then over on the defensive side, just a couple of cats named Roman Tillman and Roman Kaywood certainly stood out, maybe won themselves some starting jobs on this defense. And I thought that the two Romans were pretty cool, and it brings an old guy like me back to the Roman Gabriel days. And that always puts
cats named Roman. Couple cats named Roman. I like that. By the way, with Etheridge, The actual message he gave too during the hype circle there was one of the most passionate, and I think Spencer ended up talking about it when he talked on like the Tuesday before the spring game, but it was one of the more passionate, from the heart, longer ones we've heard. He had a quote prepared, and he talked about coming from nothing and how he's living every day and enjoying every moment in this and soaking this in. And if anyone takes anything for granted, it being here, then, think about where you came from. And just, he some of these guys are, let's go kick some ass today. All right, on 3, it's a kind of a quick thing. His was a little longer one and had a real heartfelt message. And you could just tell this means a lot to him. I don't know what the weight room or the facilities or what it was like at CSU Pueblo or his path, growing up, but he seems like a guy that's, we haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but listening to his speech there to the team, sounds like a guy that's certainly soaking in and trying to take advantage of every moment of this.
I love it. A methodical big man. Bring it on, man. It might be my new favorite player. I love it.
And of course, someone says Etheridge only being 6'3" helps out Madsen.
Yeah, whatever.
I agree. I will say this: when I first saw him in one of the drills, he is a little smaller than you might think. When you look at Cage Casey at left tackle, and then you see an Etheridge, and he's listed at 6'3", but that didn't. It was a first practice, maybe second practice. I was up close and I said, "Oh, he's a little smaller than I thought," but he certainly proved over the course of the month that that's not necessarily an issue.
Yeah, at this level, I mean, yeah, is it going to be mismatched against Oregon? Absolutely. This whole football team is going to be, and for 90% of the reasons, skill and size. But once Memphis rolls around, Tyler Etheridge might be one of the more dominating left tackles that Boise State will have in terms of competition. So I'm not worried about a couple of inches. I think Boise State has had one in 25 years. A guy named Archie Lewis has played one season at left tackle. Otherwise, it's been 2 and 3 and 4 year guys. So Tyler Etheridge is sliding into a spot of history at Boise State, playing that left tackle spot, and he's just a rental guy for 9 months. And I think he's done spectacular so far. So I got high hopes for that cat.
Taking Mike Prater way out of context, talking about a couple inches. But Surf City Bill, I think Mike is spot on with his assessment of the team. Folks are agreeing with you about Oregon. Somebody said, I think Oregon, 2 years ago, I expected to beat Oregon. We are getting whooped this year. I'm just going to skip past some of the.
What? I don't have it up on my screen. Read it to me.
Said, I wish my wife said that.
You can get away.
Any other final lingering thoughts from the spring, Mike? I said we're going to have 4 months to dissect this, talk about this, hype up the Oregon game. Is there any other kind of just general thought you have? You said you think it's a good team, a really good team, not Oregon good, but pretty good about competing in all the games other than Oregon. Any just final general thoughts about this team or about what you saw in the spring, and then we'll touch on basketball.
Over on defense, very, 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 very happy with what I saw in terms of the development of the secondary. And Terrence Brown, maybe he's got a magical touch because he came in and he's mixing and matching a secondary that had a lot of help. And I think he's got himself 5 starting DBs. I think he's got himself 5 number 2 DBs. I really like what he's doing there. I like the mentality. I like the changes that they made by putting all that in one room. I think the secondary, which really caught fire in the last 2/3 of last season, I think that momentum is really going to continue right now. Even though they lost a coach, even though they lost some players, I'm really excited about that. I'm very, very, very disappointed in the lack of development in the linebacker room. Bowen Phelps is fine. He's a little too undersized for me, but but Spencer Danielson loves that style, more of a smaller athletic guy who can move right to left as a fourth. And he said that's the new wave of college football. So, Bowen Phelps is going to slide in and be just fine. This team in tackles, if you ask me. But Rip is way too inconsistent. The Brantley didn't quite get as much traction as maybe I thought he would. So I think this football team might be the thinnest linebacker room in all of college football. They literally, in my opinion, have 1.5 linebackers. And that scares me an awful lot. The defensive line, I think, is going to be okay. As far as the wide receiver room, I've never been a hype guy. I'm kind of an anti-hype guy. Anti-Malachi Nelson. Anti-Chris Marshall. I'm not a big hype believer, and that doesn't mean they're great athletes and they can.
You and Johnny don't get along very well, then.
We don't. We fight on that a lot, and so far I'm kind of 2 for 2 when it comes to Malachi Nelson and Chris Marshall. He thought both those guys, as did you and so many others, that they were going to set all the records at Boise State and go conquer the NFL. Rashawn Jones is different. I'll give you that. He's very, very different. He just turned 18 years old. We just had his dad on the show the other day. I think he's solid. He's grounded. He's athletic. He's big. He checks every box. He can be successful as a hype guy. and I'm looking forward to him. But he's not going to come out here and lead the league in pass catching. I think he's going to have some spectacular games, some spectacular moments. But I also think this wide receiver room is by committee. 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys. I've predicted on our show that Matt Wagner, the tight end, will lead this football team in receptions this year. We'll see how it plays out.
BSU Bill, an interesting point here. So if that 5-and-5 rule goes through, will Etheridge actually maybe have 2 years left?
No, it doesn't account for seniors. All seniors are there's
no, but it's for the seniors that are going out. He's still got a full year left, so I think he'd be part of that. They're saying the seniors right now, like Mason Randolph wouldn't be able to come back and have another year. I think the next year's players, I think he would.
I was told that Tyler Etheridge was here for 1 year.
Okay. And that was even after the 5-and-5 rule was going to go through?
If he's here for 1 year, I don't think. I mean, we're all learning about this rule, and eligibility is really, really weird right now out there. So, but I was led to believe that he is here for 1 year. It's his last year of college football, and that's stuff that won't apply to the new 5-for-5 guy. But, hey, in this crazy world of college football, we're learning every day, and anything is possible.
If this is only going to be his 4th year of college and that rule goes through, my understanding, which again I'm wrong often, would be that he would fall into that category, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Like you said, it's every day the rule changes, and you think a guy has this many years, and that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to the 5-and-5, so we can stop worrying about waivers and COVID waivers and everything else, and just what is this guy listed as a senior, but he's actually a sophomore? I agree, and I'll say this quickly, Mike. I know it's 1 month of spring camp. And I know it's dangerous because we've fallen into this trap where if one side of the one position looks really good, maybe it's actually because the other position they're going against isn't very good. But it seems to appear with both Alvis Whitted and Terrence Brown that Spencer Danielson made 2 home run hires.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen enough out of Alvis Whitted yet. I like what he's done. I like talking to him. I think he's really smart. I don't have anything negative to say. I think he kind of came through spring camp to me as a neutral. I mean, I don't see a lot of Q Williams maybe kind of stood out a little bit in spring. If you ask me, obviously Rashawn Jones does, but I'm not going to give Alvis Whitted any credit for that right now. I thought Terrence Brown was a difference maker as a coach, and I thought he really stood out and separated himself as a fantastic hire. I still need to probably see a little bit more out of Alvis Whitted just based on the body of work. Again, it's not a negative. It's more of a neutral. I think he took status quo and didn't screw it up, but we'll see how it plays out.
Hey, Taco Bell, TacoBellWorks.com. Again, we appreciate the SOM Management Group, the Nicolason family, the Crunchy Chicken, Cantina Tacos, the Quesadillas, all the great breakfast options. Taco Bell, visit a Treasure Valley Taco Bell location today. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley is Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, check out Matt Bauscher, BauscherRealEstate.com. Hey, if you need a new roof for that home, Signature Roofing is who you need to reach out to, covering our community one roof at a time, whether it's a re-roof, repair, an estimate, or an inspection. Check out mysignatureroofing.com. If you need a fence, Element Fencing has you covered as well. ElementFencing.com, decks, pergolas, fences, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl. They can do it all. 25 plus years in the fencing business. Brady and his staff ready to help you today. Let them know BNN sent you. 631-2790, elementfencing.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shop ridleys.com. Find a location near you online. They got the Kuna location. Love the McCall location as well. Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, McCall's surrounding states, almost 30 locations in all. Think local. Think Ridley's Family Markets. And, of course, rowpaint.com as well. Andy Rowe and Company. I hooked up a guy yesterday that's getting some painting done outside on his how about this? Double supporting the sponsors, Mike. You got a new roof from Signature Roofing, and then it didn't match his siding, so now he's getting the siding redone from rowpaint.com. So we appreciate the sponsors. Reach out. I can directly help you get with the sponsors individually. We'll connect you right to the owners and get you the best deal possible, and that includes rowpaint.com, ROEpaint.com. All right, Mike, we saw the Campbell transfer coming in. That's now 4 new players for the basketball team. It sounds like they have 1 left. Congrats to Alexis Williams. Gets a big opportunity with Minnesota. A nice promotion for him. But one of the good dudes out there. We've lost David Moats and him in the last calendar year, whatever it is, or 18 months. And both those guys were kind of folks that maybe on the surface, a lot of fans didn't know a ton about or didn't, hear from them much since they weren't, the prominent assistant coaches or head coach, but they were guys we always enjoyed at practice and games talking to and seeing around. And we're 2 of the good guys in the business. And David Moats is killing it now with West Virginia. And now Lexus Williams, who I think was on a 30 for 30, rising coaches list last year, getting a step up to branch out in his coaching career with Minnesota. That was a tough one to hear, but we'll see what happens with the available coaching spot. We'll see what happens with the last roster spot, but four new players in the fold for the basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, I can just picture right now that whole staff grinding behind the scenes, and and speaking of that staff, they technically have 2 spots open because they never filled David Moats' spot last year. You can have 5 assistants in college basketball right now, so there's 2
I believe
spots.
Max Teams technically got promoted with that spot since they had it open, but
yeah, but not as an assistant coach, more of a video guy. So you can literally have 5 assistant coaches. I mean, I'm sure he was paying whatever, but he could go out and hire 2 assistant coaches. We'll see how that plays out. I'm more interested in that because, frankly, I'm not he's grinding and he's filling the spots, but I'm not quite sure I see the vision. And maybe that's a Prater problem in terms of, just my basketball IQ. But Leon Rice said he wanted dogs. And that's the one thing that we can't measure right now with these new dudes. I have no idea if DeMario Wheeler-Thomas is a dog, Stanback, Dieng, Butka, whatever his name is. I have no idea if those guys are dogs, but when you're piecing together a roster, I don't see the plan yet. I don't see the vision, and I certainly don't see the beginnings of a roster that's going to really get me excited. So I still want a true big. Everybody keeps saying these 6'9", 6'10" guys are bigs, and I guess maybe they are, but I want to. The Stanback kid's kind of a rim protector because he's got such the big wingspan and he can get out there and do some things that was missing on this basketball team. There's no doubt about it. But I'm more of a Mladen Armouche kind of guy that can throw some muscle around in the paint. Mm-hmm. I think it's a really, really soft team in the paint. So maybe that's where the dog mentality kicks in for some of these bigger guys that he's recruiting. But I'm not worried about where they're coming from. Alabama State, North Dakota College of Science, whatever the other, Pepperdine, Campbell. Yeah. I really, because that kid, that Butka kid, this will be his 3rd team in 3 years. He started one season at Pepperdine, then he went to Campbell. Now he's coming to Boise. That's a massive red flag for me. So that doesn't mean it can't work. Right now on paper, I'm still waiting to find the dog, and maybe they're out there. But the pieces that he's putting together, I think he's just filling roster spots and doing the best that he can. This is not, on paper, a very dynamic-looking roster, and I think he's kind of got himself into the same position he did last year. Way too many 6'7" wing white guys. Now, all of a sudden, I got 6'9", kind of a mix of wing/bigs, and he's looking for a type, and it's kind of confusing to me. I cannot wait to talk to Leon. I want to break. We've invited him on the show, but he's he hasn't got back to us yet because I'm sure he's busy, and I get that. He's grinding it. And they still got 1 player or maybe even 2. I'm not sure how that works out. Ready to go. But, hey, they're making progress. But right now, I see a roster that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I see a coaching staff that's down 2 spots.
Yeah, I would say they're going to be much more athletic in the front court. That, to me, looks like kind of the vision with you lose a Parolin, who was more of a, kind of a bigger guy that just kind of stood down there. I agree with you. There would be a lot of value to having a Mladen Armouche, a big guy that just stands there in the middle. But they're going more for the I'm calling him DB, by the way. I'm not even going to predict how to say his first name or last name, so I was just going to call him DB for now. But I think with him and with Stanback and Jacani Dieng, they at least look a lot more athletic. They're not the tallest guys, but they're more of like a San Diego State front court where they're just 6'8", 6'9" guys that are just athletic, will rebound, defend, block. And again, I don't know. You're right. We'll see when the games start how it all pieces together. On paper, they don't have the star. They didn't get the one guy that looks like he's just clearly the winner of and the leader of the whatever offseason. But I think it's 3 or 4, nice guys. They did some things at other spots, but who knows? Like you said, it's really hard to predict how a guy that scores 13 points at Campbell is going to come in and play here. And it's just so I'm not going to say they had a heck of an offseason. I'm not going to say it was a terrible offseason. I don't know. It's bad hosting, whatever, but I'm really going to hold judgment till November 3rd or whatever. When we see this team play game, they could be terrible, or all these guys could mesh perfectly and be good. I can't tell. It's too hard for me. Like you said, they're coming from different places. That doesn't necessarily concern or bother me either, but they've all put up some numbers at other places. What does that mean in this offense, in this role, on this team? I have no idea. I'm going to trust that they do have a plan, Prater. I know you said it's hard to figure out what it is, maybe, but I will trust that there's some method to this. To me, it looks like they're trying to be more athletic in the down low, and maybe they're going for athleticism and length and necessarily just size in terms of, or weight, and that, so to speak. But again, until we get the fifth guy in the fold here, and until we get to hear from Leon Rice and hear more about this, but they're looking for a guard, I believe, for the next spot, whether it be a shooting guard, a wing, a two guard. It's definitely going to be a different looking team compared to last year. There's no doubt about that. But what it all means here in 6 months, we'll have to wait to see.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page there, which is kind of weird when it comes to BSU basketball. But I pretty much feel the same way. So I do worry, and I've tried to dabble in the film a little bit with Stanback, Dieng, and Budka. I don't see. I'm a little worried that maybe physically they could be pushed around a little bit. I'm looking for a little bit more girth and strength and muscle in the middle there, if they're actually going to be these defenders, because I do like the athleticism, and I do like that part of what you talked about, and that part to me is there. Again, I think he's doing the best he can. He's grinding his ass off. He's spending the money that he's been given, and these guys don't come cheap. I don't care where they come from. So, they were wanted. They weren't wanted at the huge Power 4 level, or Boise State wouldn't got it, but they were wanted elsewhere, and they were competitive. And Boise State got these dudes, and I think Leon is just doing the best he can. He's always told us that he wants dogs. I have no idea if these dudes are dogs. I'm going to have to decide that for myself starting in November when we see them, because it won't tell you. The dog mentality won't come out until they actually start playing real games. I don't care what Leon says. I don't care what you say. I don't care what it looks like in practice. So if these guys are dogs, then I give Leon Rice and his coaching staff a big A+ in terms of putting this roster together. But right now, probably the best thing I can say about this roster, it's a big fat incomplete for me.
Yeah, and I've said this a couple of times, but the one thing I'll say about Damari Wheeler-Thomas is if he hadn't committed to Boise State, his next visit was San Diego State. And if San Diego State wants him, I'll say, okay, he's probably going to be good enough to play here. If Boise State's recruiting the same guards as San Diego State, I'll say he's at least a guy I'm going to be watching this year to see what he does. But again, as you said, the dog mentality, how it all meshes, how it fits, we have no idea, and we won't know until November 3rd. By the way, I did see that Utah State and New Mexico announced a series to play together. I think Boise State, Nevada is one to watch possibly that could happen. Maybe there's some thought there, and we'll see, Mike. I mean, I have unless they're going to pay him as one of those buy games to come to Boise, no interest in like Wyoming or Air Force or San Jose. But I think some of these other teams, and they've got to fill 16 games, 16 non-conference games, and there's not a lot of games out west. So we know they're having Butler coming to Extra Mile Arena. That'll be a nice game, at least on paper. Butler's returning from last year when they went to Butler, and then they're going to go play at Wichita State as the return game for that. But those are the only two games. We don't know the tournament yet. We don't know much else on the schedule. And as you said, you're trying to fill a roster, and then you got to fill 14 non-conference games as well. I was trying to get my kids signed up for the basketball camp this summer. I'm like, can I get some dates? And they're like, oh, we got way more to worry about than the summer kids camp right now. We'll get to that at some point down the road. So they do have a lot going on, but I will be interested to see what kind of schedule. Do they decide to go to some easier, games at home? Do they challenge themselves on the schedule? I'll be curious, given the pressure, I guess, or hot seat, however you want to call it, on this coaching staff this year. I'm going to be curious how they, what kind of schedule they put together as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could probably tell. I mean, Leon Rice's schedules are pretty consistent. I think, and as much as I beat him up for his schedule, I think they've done a nice job the last couple of years of being creative and finding those power spots, whether it's a tournament, a nice tournament, or even the St. Mary's games in Idaho Falls. I have no idea if those are coming back. Probably not. But I've been saying that for 3 years. But yeah, I think we'll see how that plays out. But it's going to be 10 crappy opponents. It's going to be Butler and Wichita State. And then they can maybe mix and match 2 or 3 or 4 other opponents that are somewhat intriguing. And I have no problem whatsoever. I don't care if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I got no problem. As long as they're the right schools, because I agree with you, playing old Mountain West teams. So give me Nevada. Give me UNLV. Give me New Mexico, whatever. I'd play those guys home and home every single day, every single season, every single year. So sign me up for those games. And if you could talk those other Mountain West teams to come here for a one-off, I'd rather see that than, the sweet sisters of the poor. I mean, sure. I'll watch San Jose State over that every single time. So there's some people out there that, why are we doing this? They're our old rival, or we're in court, we're being sued, Bob. Who cares? He's trying to fill a basketball game, and Mountain West opponents can be a hell of a lot better than some of the other things I've seen on this schedule in the past.
And one thing I would like to see on the way out the door here, Mike, is I would like the first game to be a little bigger game, like a little more exciting first game where, they kind of sneak in the non-division ones the last few years. They obviously lost the non-division one last year to Hawaii Pacific. Like, if you're going to play Nevada, make it the first game. Like, get an exciting game right off the bat for fans, where maybe even if you do lose, your season's not cooked right off the bat because it was a tough game, or at least a game where you're on par with your opponent, where people aren't going to say that was some embarrassing loss. This season is over with. Typically, they've kind of eased in a little bit. Give us an exciting game to look forward to right out of the gate.
That would be part of a dog mentality that I think Leon Rice is looking for. So when you play a Hawaii Pacific in the first game, it's the anti-Oregon factor. And the whole offseason, I don't have to worry about the opener. We got this one covered. There's no motivation. But when you play Oregon, as in football, in your season opener, there is plenty of offseason motivation. You spend an extra 20 minutes in the weight room. They have your attention. So I love that idea. Opening up against a D2 team and sleepwalking your way through it and losing is a horrific way to start a season. And I don't think they ever recovered from that last year. So, yeah, give me a team that motivates the fan base a little bit, motivates the guys internally, and certainly gives you a little risk reward when it comes to the competition on the court.
Well, like I said, keep an eye on Nevada. They're the one that hasn't announced one of these deals yet, and I've been told that's a team that might make some sense. And heck, maybe what do you think of a home and home with Nevada? Home and road in the same year. You got to fill 16 games. Why not just play both games this year? I think that could be something to keep an eye on. Who knows? But Mike, I don't know if you need me today or not. You guys are out at the softball field. You got a 3-hour show. Hopefully folks will come out. Going to be beautiful weather. I know it's always a fun day for you guys, getting peppered with batting practice, home runs out there in right field, up in the grass.
No batting practice today. They actually moved. This is our 5th annual show at the Boise State softball game over there at Huber Field. And they actually moved the start time. They're playing San Jose State in a Mountain West game. They moved the start time to 3 o'clock just to accommodate our show. So when we be showing up, they'll be playing live baseball and live softball. So, and we're going to get one of the players on the show live at 3:15, kind of do the live look in and have a lot of fun with that. Coach Schultz will join us as well. So we'll be out there. We're talking Boise State football. We're talking NFL camps. We're talking all kinds of other stuff today. And yes, we want BJ Rains, Bronco Nation News Report, 4:15 today, like usual. We'll figure out some kind of strategic game plan. But load us up and let's get after a big fun show today. It's going to be a beautiful day.
All right. Well, I kept you late, so I apologize, Mike. Thanks a lot. And we'll let you get ready to your meeting, get ready for your show. That'll be a fun day. 3 o'clock. Make sure you're listening to Idaho Sports Talk. Mike, always appreciate it.
Thanks, BJ. Appreciate it. Have a great day and see you at 4:15.
Sounds good. Mike Prater, again, KTIK will be live at the Boise State softball game, 3 o'clock today, as that's the final regular season weekend for the softball team. And been an up and down year. Had some nice early wins, struggled a little bit in conference, but make sure you're listening to Mike Prater and Johnny Ballgame live at 3 o'clock and that's pretty cool. They changed the start time, but it doesn't surprise me that that's something that on a Friday that Justin Schultz would do to accommodate the media and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool that they are doing that. But appreciate all of you guys for watching the show. Appreciate Sun Cruiser. Perfect weekend beverage here. We'll be barbecuing tonight, watching some Cardinals Dodgers at the Rains household, and getting ready for a busy weekend of baseball. And we'll probably have a couple Sun Cruisers flowing. And yes, for the person earlier in the chat that commented, I apologize on the over bet in the Paul Skeens game yesterday. The under did not hit. So if you bet the over, if you went against me just to spite me, you won handsomely. So that was a tough one. I think the over had hit by like the 3rd inning. So I apologize for the suggestion on the Cardinals Pirates over yesterday. But Cardinals Dodgers this weekend, looking forward to that. Hey, my Cardinals are 5 games over 500, playing pretty well right now. So appreciate you guys. Thanks again to Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor. Lithia Ford of Boise, Jim Sturkin Company. Really, really appreciate them and their support of Bronco Nation News. And if you're looking for a new or pre-owned vehicle, obviously you're going to shop around, but make sure one of your stops is Lithia Ford of Boise. Give them a chance, and appreciate all of you that have told me that you've gone there and purchased vehicles from them. And it's the name of the game, folks, supporting the sponsors. If you want to keep seeing this show free of charge, every morning on YouTube, if you want to see free pregame and postgame shows, live from the games with interviews, if you want to see traveling and the only outlet that travels on the road with football and basketball, then that's what you got to do. You got to support the sponsors and you got to help us out. And you also need to subscribe. BroncoNationNews.com, 50% off right now. You can also try us for 1 month for $1. If you're not sure if you're on the fence, and you're on the fence, not sure if what we're all about and what you're going to get value for your money, you can try us for $1 for a month, and hopefully that'll convince you to want to stay on. But if you're ready, 50% off. You can just pay for the whole year up front. You get half off, and you get a full year of coverage from Prater's, his columns, Nathan's analysis, Chris Van Sickle's recruiting coverage, all of our great work at BroncoNationNews.com. And it's the perfect time because if you get in now, you get all of our offseason coverage. Then you also get a full football season and a full basketball season. And again, 50% off right now, our spring special. Take advantage of that at BroncoNationNews.com. Just click the VIP button up in the upper right-hand corner. You can chat there in the message boards as well. We have the free football board, the free basketball board if you're not a paid subscriber. We also have the VIP board for paid subscribers behind the paywall there where some of the inside info and intel goes. So appreciate all of you guys for checking us out. We'll continue to monitor the basketball transfer portal, see who they end up adding to the roster, what the schedule starts to look like. We'll study all that for the next few weeks. And as I said, 2 weeks from Monday, we'll start our offseason football coverage and, in depth with our countdowns and things like that. We'll start with our 25 most important players to the team. We'll start with number 25 next 2 Mondays from now on the 19th, I believe it is. So appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend, a great rest of your day. Stay safe. Enjoy whatever family, friend time you're going to get. We got 6 baseball games, hopefully, between the two boys if the tournaments and things go well. So we'll be out at various fields all day Saturday and Sunday. But yes, agree. In this day and age, please support companies that support the Broncos. And that's pretty much every sponsor on BNN. They're associated with Boise State in some way. And if you can return the favor, folks, support the sponsors. Tell them you're supporting them because of their advertising on Bronco Nation News. It really does go a long way. So thanks again to Prater. Thanks again to all of you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bronco Nation News Live. Go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. And by the way, give us a little like or subscription on YouTube here on the way out the door. Thanks.